So I've got some clips I'm going to show you guys, and I promise it's not satire. When I first stumbled across it, I thought that it might be some new Saturday Night Live material, or maybe Mr. Show was making a comeback. I don't know if you guys remember that one or not, but it was Mr. Show with Bob and David. It was one of my favorites. I think it only lasted like 3 seasons, but it was Bob Odenkirk, David Cross, and they did some of my favorite satirical skits, one of which was called We're Gonna Blow Up the Moon. If you've never seen it, just go out of your way to find it and thank me later. So just for a minute, I got my hopes up thinking that Mr. Show was making a comeback and that Bob and David was back together, but that's not the case. It's Charlie Kirk, who is the founder of Turning Point USA and a big-time Trump fangirl. And he's got all of his guests on the show, and they all have their Maga hats on. And they all are talking about how that Trump being convicted is right up there with 9/11. You're going to remember where you were on that day. Take a look at this ridiculousness.
Today, as we say, this was an attempted judicial and legal assassination. Some of you in the audience remember where you were when you heard the news that they killed JFK. You remember where you were on 9/11. This is an equally as significant day. You will remember the day. You remember what you were doing when you heard the news, because it has never happened before in American history.
You know, the first catastrophic event that I ever remember seeing unfold on TV was the Challenger explosion. I was 5 years old, and I can remember that plain as day. It's probably my first news story that I ever saw as a kid that I remember. I remember my mom crying, and I remember how scared I was seeing it explode in the air. Anytime I see the footage of that, I just go right back in time to Southeast Kentucky in this little single-wide trailer me and my mom and dad lived in. We had one of those old TVs you had to slap on the side to get it to come in right. And I just remember how horrible of a day that was. And I do remember 9/11. I remember exactly where I was. I was working in a furniture factory at the time. And this guy just come running down the main aisle screaming, "They've bombed us, they've bombed us." And I was going, who? You know, what? What is he talking about? And as the day went on and he began to try to, or other people began to try to explain to me what happened, I never would go to the break room and watch. I just had a sick gut feeling about it. But as people was explaining it to me, I was going, there's no way that this is happening in America. And then I remember when I went home and watched it on TV, it was just like, you just sit there and you realize that the world was never going to be the same. Now, these guys are comparing moments like that to Donald Trump being held accountable for his wrongdoings. I have sat back since this verdict, and I have watched people that I once had respect for say some of the most harebrained, idiotic things that I have ever seen. I've heard people say stuff like, well, just wait and see, buddy. Judgment Day won't be rigged. Really? I mean, you're really going to take it there? It's so ridiculous to me, the level that they will go to condone this man. You have to say this about them. They're dedicated. They truly are dedicated to this one man. No one else could ever get away with this. I don't think in the Republican Party, Democratic Party, Independent, it'll never. Donald Trump is one of a kind in that sense that he has convinced this whole flock of people that him being convicted for his wrongdoings, him being convicted for paying off a porn star to suppress a news story before an election is as catastrophic as 9/11 or the Challenger exploding or JFK. I wasn't alive for that one, but I'm pretty sure a president being assassinated, it cannot compare to one being held accountable for his crimes. But these guys will go to any and all lengths to normalize Donald Trump and to try to paint this illusion that both sides are the same, man, they're all a bunch of crooks. There's only one crook at this particular point that's like the king crook. Nixon is somewhere rolling over in his grave going, dang, why couldn't I get away with that? That's how ridiculous it's got with Donald Trump. But these guys will continue to double down on their rhetoric and talking points, and of course they're going to play one of their favorite hits, which is, they're taking this country from you. They're taking this country from you. Take a look at this.
They are taking your country from you, and they already have. And when you see Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts, that is a gut punch to the republic, a gut punch to you, to our founding fathers, to the sacrifices that many of you have given to this country. We do not have the best fighting force on the planet to go die and to go risk their lives for this nonsense.
Someone needs to inform Charlie Kirk that this is our country too. It's not just one group of people's country. It's not just one individual's country or one idea's country. That's not what we're about at all. And if he wants to talk about gut punches, we got plenty of them we can talk about. I have made countless videos talking about the gut punches from Donald Trump. One of the biggest was watching him stand in the way of the peaceful transfer of power and watching people invade the Capitol, flying flags with his name on them above the American flag, flying "Don't Tread on Me" flags, flying Confederate flags. That was a pretty damn big gut punch there, Charlie. I don't know if you realize that or not. This man being held accountable is not anyone taking your country from you. No one's trying to take your country. I know you want to go back to the 1950s. I know you was born in 93, but you want to go back to 53. No one is trying to take your country. They're trying to hold Donald Trump accountable for his wrongdoings. And if you care anything at all about democracy or anything at all about freedom, Donald Trump has to be thrown under the bus. That's the only way the Republican Party ever comes back from this clusterfuck, is to throw him under the bus. And they won't do it because they have to hang on to his rabid base. Well, guess what? I wouldn't want to appeal to that base. I wouldn't want to keep those people happy. I would want to cut ties with those people as quickly as possible. I would want it to be known that I in no way condoned that type of rhetoric. I know common sense Republicans. There are some left. I know them. They're there. But they have to talk louder, and they have to call this bullshit out, and they have to quit normalizing it, and they have to quit trying to appease that base. Let's get back to having debates about the real world and not just this stupid, WWE-style rhetoric that Maga gets themselves all worked up on. No one is coming for your country because it's not your country, it's our country, and we believe that a guy that poses a threat to democracy should be held accountable. I know you may see it completely different, but we have the facts on our side and you don't, so I guess you're just shit out of luck on that one there, Charlie. But anyway, they close, or I'm going to close with this clip here. I don't know if they closed with it, but I'm going to close with this one because, yeah, just watch.
Everybody point to the hat. We have to get one screen grab of this.
One graphic.
Blake, you got to do it.
Having Blake with the MAGA hat makes my year, because it's a symbol. And Andrew, I want to talk about this. I am now going to wear this everywhere I go. Every single one of you, you need to now get one of these, donate at donaldjtrump.com, and you need to go into the streets and to show this regime no. F you, actually. We're not going to put up with this. We are not going to tolerate your nonsense or your BS.
So yeah, how many of you have ever been called sheep by guys like that? How many of you have ever been told that you're crybabies? How many of you have ever been told that you're snowflakes and you need a safe space and y'all just follow the leader? How many of you gets told that on a daily basis by guys who says, hey, everybody put the same color hat on. Everybody go out here and buy one of these so we can get him reelected. Everybody say F you. Everybody together, all together now. It's so hard to hold a straight face while I'm doing this one. And I'm not laughing at it because it's funny. I'm laughing out of pure frustration. I'm laughing because it's like, is this the real world? Do people out there really, they obviously do, really latch on to this type of rhetoric, and they think that if they turn the reins of power over to that mindset, that suddenly their life will be better? And that's the saddest part about all this to me, is how people like Charlie Kirk dupes poor people into voting against their own interests, and they don't even realize it. They don't even realize it because they clearly don't understand how things work. Prices are coming down. Gas prices are coming down. There's so many things you could point to, and you could say to the guy that used to go around putting the stickers on the gas pumps. Remember those stickers with Biden that said, I did that? Are they still putting those on there now as they're coming down? I mean, they don't never think things through. But Charlie Kirk capitalizes on people that he can manipulate and dupe into believing that he's on their side. They create these fake boogeymen, the deep state, the Soros-funded government, all this bullshit. They create those type of straw men just so they can tear them down, just so they can keep everyone walking in the same line, wearing the same red hat, meanwhile telling us that we're sheep. When I stumble across clips like that, I say to myself, when is Dick Clark going to bust out and tell us this has all been a joke? Like, when is someone just going to come out and say, you guys have been punked? I keep waiting for it. I keep waiting for someone to say, you know what, this has just been an experiment. It's like the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. It's like you guys was just being filmed the whole time and we just wanted to see your reaction and we all just have a gut laugh. But no, this is the real world. And the world that they want to usher in is a world where they're all wearing that hat and they're all saying yes to the leader and they're all saying F you to everybody that disagrees with them.